Hi everyone, I'm going to show you how I paint my original creature bust, made of Sculpey, using an airbrush. This is a standard, gravity-fed airbrush. I mostly use acrylic paints when I'm painting with the airbrush. They're cheap and they're easy to thin out because acrylics are water-based. To thin out my paint, I just use distilled water. Make sure that it's distilled water and not tap water. Distilled water will not tarnish your airbrush. Once my paint is mixed well enough, I add 3 to 5 drops of a 50-50 mix of Windex and water. This breaks the surface tension of the water and paint, and helps the paint move out very smoothly through the nozzle. After a test shot, I know that my paint's ready, and I begin painting. I usually keep my compressor at 10 psi. 10 is a really good starting spot. You can always raise it or lower it if you need to go closer or further away from your model. I've mixed up green paint for the base layer of skin for this creature that I made. I do gentle sweeping motions, making sure to get every spot of the model covered up in paint. I taped off the eyes because I painted these by hand, and I don't want to mess them up. Once my base layer of paint is done, I give it time to dry. I will continue adding more layers of green until I like the way that the skin looks. The idea I had for this creature was to make it a sort of greenish brown to camouflage with foresty areas. Now that my green is completely done, I'll begin adding brown splotches onto the model. The paint wasn't going on the way I wanted it to. This was because the green base layer was not completely dry. For future references, just because the paint looks dry from an airbrush doesn't mean that it is dry. Give it a long time to dry just to make sure that no colors will get messed up. I gave my bust a whole day to dry, just in case. So, now that that's done, I've mixed up some brown, and I began to do undertones of brown to make it look a little more camouflaged. Last, I tape off the skin of the figure and just leave a small amount of the eyes. I mix up some red and do very light brushes across the eyes, just to give them veins and maybe a bloodshot look. Once this is done, the creature bust is now complete.